and welcome to the Kind of Sort of Maybe show. Today we're going to talk about something awesome, I think. Something that I love, I grew up with, and I'm trying to share and spread the word, the good word of Back to the Future. So that's what we're going to do today, Back to the Future. It's so awesome. So I got a little background. Well, first of all, I keep forgetting this every time. My name's Jim Zavala. You can find me on Twitter at JimZ3.
Claudia, my name is...
Your name is Claudia.
Okay, Slim Shady over here.
My name is...
She's Claudia.
My handle is Claudia Villamus.
My name is Melinda. You can find me at Melinda Lene.
Yeah, and first of all, just to maybe not date this, but Claudia just got married, which is really cool.
Yeah, on Saturday.
On Saturday. Congratulations, Claudia.
Thank you, guys.
To you and Mr. Lemus.
Mr. Pablo Lemus.
Pablo Lemus.
Pablo Lemus, that's right.
No. So Claudia just got married, and I asked her at the wedding, I was like, so the important question, I know you're busy and all this stuff, but the important question, have you seen Back to the Future? And
it's an important question, I think. I mean, we needed to know.
And so she had seen the first one, right? And you had homework on your honeymoon.
I watched the second and the third over the weekend.
Awesome. So that's what we're going to talk about today, Back to the Future. I saw it, I think, I was a kid in the 80s, remember
Did you see
flashback.
it in theaters?
No, I probably saw part 3 in the theaters, but I was that came out, I don't remember the date, like I think late 80s, early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So I saw part 3 in the theater, but the other two, no, I was too young for that, but I was a child. Okay. So there's a theory on that. No, but I did see that, and I loved it. I love Back to the Future. When was the first time you saw Back to the Future?
Probably with my dad, like young.
Yeah.
He's probably watching, and he made us watch it too.
You took out the belt. Watch this.
Watch this.
Yeah. How about you, Melinda?
I think it was in like the early 2000s. It was probably after the first trip that we went to Disney World. So it was after around the like 2003 time, because we went to the ride, and I'm like, what is this? This is so cool. So yeah, that's when I watched it. Wasn't
the Back to the Future ride on Universal Studios?
Yeah, I don't know where it's at. It's in one of those areas. But when we go to Disney, I mean, we go to the whole area. So I mean,
World, you went to Disney World though?
The what?
Disney World?
Yeah, in Florida.
Awesome. Yeah. So I went to the Universal Studios, and unfortunately, because I love Back to the Future, when I went there, the ride was no more.
Oh no!
I was really sad. They had just like decommissioned the ride. And the newest ride there was The Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that was a really good ride. I think it was like the same premise.
Did not like The Simpsons ride.
What?
No.
Why?
I mean, and you can't replace.
But you don't know Simpsons lore, I guess, right?
It's not lore. I don't think that word means what you think it means, Jim. Because he used it last night also on Twitter. He's like, I need to catch up on my Harry Potter lore. I'm like, nope, that's not how you say it.
Okay. Harry books, I guess. Is that what you call them? Yeah, but anyway, Back to the Future was great. I missed out on the ride. But there's some cool stuff on YouTube, like the last ride of that one, which is awesome.
I even have a little pin, like, you know how you can collect your Disney pins? That was one of my very first pins that I got because I thought it was so cool.
Yeah, Back to the Future was awesome. So yeah, back to the movie.
Yeah.
So when I first saw Back to the Future, I was a kid, and it just stuck to me. And a lot of the themes in that movie, the first one, I don't know if you're aware, I say that a lot too. If you're not aware, Back to the Future was originally meant to be one movie. And what's cool is at the end of the first movie, you see, I mean, depending where you saw it, they had to be continued. And that was actually only for the VHS version. So the original theatrical release had no to be continued, which was, I mean, I never knew that until I was a lot older and saw the commentary and they reshot a lot of stuff. But I guess getting ahead of myself, what'd you think about Back to the Future? Actually, the first one. Start with the first one.
Well, I thought it was at the time probably like really exciting. I think this one, the story was really cool. It was like a lot of stuff of trying to, follow what they were trying to say. And I was like, okay, what's going on here? But I really liked it, I liked it's new. It's like a different story, the idea of going back, and like seeing your parents grow up and like being like the possibility of your mom having a crush on you. I thought that was just the weirdest thing,
That is the weirdest thing.
Calling him Calvin Klein, and like I think that's hilarious. Like thinking that his name is Calvin Klein because of the chones.
Translation: underwear.
I just thought it was cool, and I couldn't stop thinking about it. Like, man, what would it be like to be there when my parents met and like possibly ruin it? You know, just how like one little thing can change like.
Yeah.
Butterfly effect.
It's crazy.
Yeah, he was disappearing, like literally disappearing, which is pretty cool. So do you think you'd ruin your parents' meeting if you were thrown in there?
I don't know. That's crazy. Like
you trip
I would
on
just like to be there to see how they met, see the story corroborates, with what they've told us. But I think it's a pretty cool story, and I'll let you keep talking. I'll let you say what you said, because like I found like a lot of things really interesting, especially with the set.
Yeah.
You,
well, I mean, I love Back to the Future. I've been a fan of it, for years and years and years. And I think it's well written and well acted. And I mean, I think the actors they were amazing. They chose the perfect cast. And obviously he wasn't Michael J. Fox wasn't originally set to do it. And he came in and after a lot of reshoots, because they had a different actor playing him. But no, I mean, I love Back to the Future. And it's just I love the sci-fi genre. I've already talked about. We've established, and just I don't know, Back to the Future. It's like so cool.
It is very cool.
I think to me, it just adds a lot of what I like, which is like the sciencey stuff plus the actual sci-fi stuff, and they both were. I mean, I still don't understand how the two of them were friends, because they never established. I think
Doc and Marty.
Yeah, how they established how they became friends, but they're both just like these weird nerdy guys. I don't know.
Yeah, they were awesome characters. Seeing back with the characters, like his whole family was just a family of losers, and you feel it in that first one.
The first
really
film,
bad. It's almost like a different movie from the first one compared to the second and third. It's a lot more lighthearted and stuff. Well, a little bit, but just a family of losers, because of these decisions that were stuff that happened to your mom and dad, and mom's an alcoholic, the dad is being bullied, a nerd being bullied by his high school bully, and I just thought that was really cool how you go back in time, you see how your parents were, and he fixed his parents, he fixed his family.
Second film,
and well, like at the end of the first one, even when he comes back and he sees all these changes, he has that truck that he always, and I use a bunch of lines like "one day, Jennifer," and I tell that to my wife, and it's funny because her name's not Jennifer, but but that whole scene, she returns. So you see, that whole truck, and then he comes back, and everything's changed for the better.
His dad's an author and everything.
Author. He did what he wanted to do. That you learned that when he went back in time, when he was in the cafeteria, he's like, "This is what I like to do. These are my comics or whatever." That was really cool. Yeah, that was cool.
So I mean, starting back with the Doc and Marty relationship, I guess he mentored him, and one of the things so awesome at the time with the visual effects with the DeLorean. I fell in love with that car. That car is awesome. It's right here somewhere. What is that?
A Mustang.
A Mustang. Oh, yep, classic Mustang. The DeLorean was just so weird looking to me. Space looking. I never saw one until. Well, in the wild, you see them now every once in a while.
The wild.
Yeah, in the wild. That's what we call it.
Do.
So the DeLorean was awesome. Cool car. And then like the effects of, the fire, the flame, everything, that whole presentation was awesome. And I like fell in love, and then time travel. I think that kind of started my whole love for sci-fi, time travel. It wasn't like a space movie, but time itself is really cool. Think anything about the time travel stuff?
I like the whole time traveling thing. I think for when it was written, like the author must have had like a huge imagination. It's just really complicated, and I really liked it. I also found the setting really interesting, and that's what I was gonna tell you guys earlier. I was like, this setting looks so familiar. Like the set, the clock, the little. He would go around that skateboard and like around and around. I'm like, that looks so familiar. So I Googled it, and I found out that that's the same set, and it's called Courthouse Square.
Okay.
That's been used in other movies. It's been used in The Gremlins. It's been used in Ghost Whisperer. That was the setting where she always met the ghosts. Batman and Robin, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and like a house. Yeah. Dr. House.
Well,
so they still use
that ride that I'm talking, there's also tours at Universal Studios of the different studios that they have, and that's one of them. that set and like, oh, these are some of the movies that have also used it. It's like that they share.
And it's really been burnt several times. Oh, yeah. They rebuild it, but I just thought that was really cool. I was like, I'm like, I've seen that set
Do you know
before.
what the first one was? The first movie they shot with it?
No, you know? But it was the tarantula or something. I know one of those really
so it goes really
movies.
Far back too?
Like 1955, I think. There's movies back
That's
there.
interesting. That's good to know. I didn't know that. I did not know that.
And they weren't even going to use that to end the scene, you know, that clock scene. I mean, that wasn't going to happen. The reason that they used that is because they had a funds shortage. You know, they cut back by a ton, like, you know, tens of thousands of dollars. And so they ended up like sticking that clock on that courthouse. And that's why they used that set, is because they didn't have enough. Yeah, they didn't have enough money to. They originally, I think, wanted to go to like Missouri or I don't know, Arkansas, like some weird state, you know.
Sorry,
no
offense.
offense.
We love all the states. With the clock tower, what they established right away in the movie is like the whole save the clock tower, and he explains, you know, hey, the lightning struck it this way, and it's that foreshadowing
that
and that whole theme.
The entire 3 films.
Yeah, and so which brings it to how he comes back, you know, which is really cool. So a lot of stuff happens. Obviously, if you've seen the movie, hopefully, if not, go watch Back to the Future. It's up there. It's one of my favorite movies. And the whole thing, I think it, like on a deeper level, it changed the way I live my life, because we don't have time machines. We don't have the luxury of going back and fixing what sucks, you know? So, seeing this film a long time ago, it's like, okay, I have to make the best of what you got. I mean, you have to. I mean, you can't go back. So I always try to remember that, and every time I see the movie, it reminds me of that. So I try to work harder. I don't know if you got any deeper themes there with that one.
Just, you know, appreciate what you have, and like anything you do can change everything, you know. Like there's a lot of things that we take for granted, and like him, you know, he goes back and he changes things, and then he realizes, oh God, what have I done, you know? And it's just appreciate what you have and everything.
I'm not as deep.
You're not as deep.
I just thought the
I really
space
like the
thing.
car.
I just like,
so cool.
yeah, I thought the space thing was cool. I mean, usually I don't get well, I mean, I don't learn from films or whatever. I just I do it
so
for
their true purpose. You don't.
No, I watch them because I think they're really cool. The entertainment aspect. Yeah, sure. I don't go into a movie thinking, you know what, I'm gonna come out thinking this, and that.
Yeah, that was just like an after effect. And I guess because watching it multiple times is kind of like I've gotten more and more from it. But same thing with like Biff. He's terrible. Biff Tannen, terrible character. I mean, there's some parts in there. He's pretty much gonna he'd have all these charges on him nowadays, you know, like sexual assault and you know, attempted rape or whatever, you know, pretty much. If George and McFly hadn't intervened and if Marty hadn't pushed him to do that, I mean, who knows what could happen. But that was some dark stuff in there. Yeah.
I found it interesting. I'm so sorry.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
They used the word terrorism a lot. Like, I don't know if you guys noticed that. Like in the first one, when Doc gets shot, and then like Marty yells out, "Oh, it's the terrorists! The terrorists are coming," because they're Lebanese or something. Yeah. And then in the second one, I think too, when they're in the hotel. Like, he goes back in time, and then Biff, like, has that huge establishment because he steals the almanac. Yeah. And as he goes and visits the principal, right, he's in his old neighborhood. He goes to the principal's house, and
the
shootout, yeah. They're like, the terrorists are coming.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm
I
like,
didn't catch that. I don't remember that.
Like how different the image of terrorism was back then than to what it has become. And I just thought that was like super interesting. Like if you watch it again, you'll see it. Like the guy that shot the ones that shot Marty, Doc, yeah. Like there was like a van and they just look like criminals to me. Like very different than when I think of terrorism now. Like you know, it's weird.
It's deep.
Back and watch it. Yeah, I
know.
I like the car.
Space
car. No, but same thing with that. Like, yeah, Biff was cool, and of course the music was so good. You know, the whole Marty changing history for a lot of different things, and we're just on the first one. So pretty much we know what happens. He goes back. He fixes his family. And Doc comes in at the end in the DeLorean again, right when he got back there. And you get that cool scene between him and Doc, like, what, do we become or something, you know, and which is really hilarious. And I don't know if you noticed it in this, but you saw it back to back. Did you notice any changes between the end of the first and the beginning of the second?
Cast wise.
Yeah.
No, Biff was the same. No,
Yeah.
the mom was the same.
The only one person who wasn't the same, a couple of people. The girlfriend. Jennifer.
Yeah, I did
She
notice,
changed.
but I wasn't sure. I was like,
And Marty
did she
aged
grow up?
like 10 years or something.
Yeah, they did grow. I was like, did she grow? Like, did she change her hair?
She's completely different
It was
actress.
a different
Yeah.
person. Yeah.
Different person.
That makes
So
sense.
yeah, it was just funny. I never noticed it until I think like I was an adult or something when I got the box set or whatever, the DVD or DVDs. So Blu-rays weren't invented.
His
but
cassettes.
my VHS. So yeah, I had the VHS, and then when the special edition came out, I bought that. But with all the commentaries, I remember watching that over and over, and I had never noticed that. They just changed an actor up. And another actor who didn't really reprise the role because of, I guess, contract negotiations was the dad, Crispin Glover. That's why in part 2 he's upside down, and it's a completely different actor.
Yeah,
So
he
you
was
don't really
upside
see
down
his
the whole
face,
time.
and that wasn't him. But later on,
And
you see him at the
yeah.
doorway, just like kind of waving, or with the wife. You know, they just reused the shot
Yeah.
from part 1. So that was really interesting. But he was supposedly a really crazy guy on set. Crispin Glover. And do you know who that is? He was in Charlie's Angels Part 1. He was that
The
weird
one with
guy.
the hair that
Yeah.
liked to smell the hair.
The weird one. Ooh.
yeah, the
Yeah.
orphaned kid or
Yeah.
something, right? Was
That
he
one
something
Drew
with an orphan?
Barrymore falls in love with or something.
No. Did she? I don't know.
No, well, they
He's
make out
creepy.
for like a little while.
Yeah, he's creepy.
It
don't
wasn't in
remember that
love.
part.
It wasn't love. I think she was just like trying to get something out of him.
Yeah, so that was pretty crazy.
I found it hilarious
What's that?
how their version of 2015 is nothing. Like, I was like, man, we're so behind. We
That-
need that
Part two,
hoverboard.
yeah.
You hadn't
so-
seen it until now?
Until
Really?
now.
Okay, so that was the whole thing. I saw it in the 90s when it came, or like
Yeah.
late 80s,
Must have been
90s.
cool.
And it's like, man, the future's going to be awesome. 2015 is going to be
That's
so
sad,
cool.
though. Well, because I remember I rewatched it right
Yeah.
before the 2015 one,
Mhm.
you know, just to the memory or whatever.
Yeah.
And because a lot of videos were coming out, you know,
Mhm.
the actors were doing a lot of like snippets and clips and stuff as an anniversary type
Yeah.
Sure.
thing.
Toyota,
And-
too. Like
Yeah. So there a lot of things were coming out in 2015, and you know, it made me sad because
Mhm.
that's the way they saw it, and that's why like a lot of like the future ones like make me sad because it's not the way
Nothing
it is.
like
It's
that.
not. It's not
And
going
you either
that
have the
direction.
dark, gritty future or the
Like
super.
the the
utopian kind of-
dystopian
yeah,
versus
dystopian.
what's happening.
Yeah, and we're pretty much the same. We just have cell phones in our pocket.
Yeah,
That's the
Yeah.
difference. So no hoverboards if
No
you're
flying
yeah,
cars.
no flying cars. Holograms. I mean, it's kind of there, 3D a little bit, but not like that. Not with the
Wait, are we
jaws.
discussing part 2 already?
Yeah, let's go to
Okay.
part 2.
Why was he wearing those weird silver sunglasses?
Doc,
Yeah.
because it was like his heads-up display. They would say like
So he could see.
Think of a smartwatch.
Uh-huh.
Google Glass. But
like-
you're wearing them and all your display, all your information there. That's where he would like see, and he even like looked at his watch, which was more information. So
Yeah,
it
well,
was
because
pretty
I
cool.
remember when I watched it, I'm like, that doesn't look safe to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if it was just like a visual thing, like to make it seem futuristic
Yeah.
because he went into the future,
Sure.
or there's something behind.
Yeah.
You know, this was my first time
Yeah.
watching. You know, the first time I had watched it, or there's something behind it. But yeah,
It was pretty
I had-
much it's your smartphone,
Mhm.
but like on your face, which eventually we're gonna get there one day.
I thought it
But
was
when
more
we
like
are
there
radiation.
now,
That's what I thought.
Radiation?
Like radiation. He had the
The visor and all that.
metallic. Yeah.
No, it was really like his smartphone and like how they can predict. Well, he knew all the weather pattern. Remember, he's like, "It's stop raining in."
it'll
yeah.
stop raining in 5 seconds.
Yeah, and pretty much it does. So that was cool. All the future tech, the jackets was really cool, and the shoes, the no laces, and what was cool is the brands Nike.
Yeah.
And you see all that coming back where like they're trying to get to that point because
Yeah.
and that happens in like
Even like Jaws 19.
Yeah.
Like the shark still looks fake.
that was a cool line there, and all the themes like the same character or the same kind of tropes there. Like in the first one you had the skateboard, then the second one you had the hoverboard
Yeah.
thing, and I think the third one he's being like dragged by a horse or something. I don't know. It's kind of dark there. He's gonna get hung, and
Yeah.
I remember that. Yeah, that's a bad image. But yeah, I really like part 2 also. Anything about part 2 that stuck out to you?
It made me want to buy an almanac. Just keep it with me all the time. You never know when a black hole's going to suck you and you're going to go back to the past.
Just in case, right? You always carry it with you. Would you do that if you had the opportunity to travel back in time?
Probably.
So you'd be
really
Biff?
Cool.
You'd do the Biff thing?
I wouldn't be Biff, but
no, because even Marty wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have
thought,
obviously been as evil,
back.
I think, but just so you can get a few bucks.
If it's there, do it. I mean, wouldn't you? Like,
I wouldn't.
I've seen it also like in other shows that I've seen lately, and I'm like, man, what's up with almanacs? Like, like they hold the key to being a millionaire. I think
you're just buying almanacs.
You have like a stack of all of them. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd do that. Especially, I mean, there's one thing with the time travel stuff, because obviously, let's say right now, you're here right now. You get into a time machine. You go into the future to see yourself. You would be missing for those 15, 30 years. You know what I mean? You would not exist within that. So to see himself, that would like assume that he'd got back safely or whatever. I don't know. Time travel makes your head explode. And they kind of explain it on the chalkboard and stuff.
And I thought that was a pretty, like, the whole Michael, like, explain it to me like I'm 5 type thing. Like, oh, I understand time travel. Physicist over here.
There you go. Honorary scientist.
Yeah. No, what I have a question with is the logic behind hoverboards. Because they're floating, but they're still kicking like a regular skateboard.
Yes. Well, you know,
why?
Well, they need the power, right? So that's why, like,
so
that's why
the point of a hoverboard is just floating.
Float,
it's not in motion.
No, that's when like Biff, or not Biff, Griff pulls out the big board. His like
the monster one that had to be they had to be powered. Well,
remember,
or something.
he gets on the water. He's like, hey, hoverboards don't work on water unless you got power. Like, there's no way to pedal. You're just floating on water. So that's when the other guys pull out that huge hoverboard with actual like jet engines and stuff, and they have straps and everything. I mean, it's pretty cool rig, but yeah, that's the whole point with them.
I just thought when I first watched them, like, I don't understand the logic behind it, because I'm like, why don't you just get a regular skateboard if you're going to be kicking? What is the purpose of it floating? Like, what is?
Remember, it was a kid's toy pretty much. He took it from the little girl, the Mattel, and he tore the thing off just like he did in the first one.
Yeah.
So he modified it like that way.
I don't know.
Was there skateboards back then? Like, or did they really come out after Back to the Future?
I don't know. I wasn't
Felt like
there.
he made them cool.
No.
No, I mean, I don't know when they came out, but that does kind of lead, into some other stuff. I guess quick question here, in a little, I'll go out of what 3 things did Marty invent? I guess.
Are we doing a pop quiz right now?
Pop quiz.
Okay.
just because you're already leading into it. What 3 things? You already said pretty much a skateboard. Pretty much. He broke that scooter thing. The next one.
Is it one in each film, or are they all in a specific film?
One in each film, I believe. Yeah, one in each. Well, maybe 2 in the first one, and then 1.
Are you gonna give us a hint?
Okay,
because I feel like that's pretty broad.
Well, one of them, he's playing guitar, and you hear as you
Johnny
play guitar
Be
like this. Yeah. So
I don't think he invented the song.
No, but he remember that new sound you're looking for? Listen to this. He pretty much invented, that style of music, rock and roll, whatever. Yeah. And then the last, in the third film, he picked up a little pie dish and
I don't remember.
Threw it.
The frisbee.
And there was like the frisbee brand thing. So pretty much he invented that. Marty. Thank you, Marty. So that was just a thing that you were going into. So no, I don't know if that's the time. Maybe that's they
became cool.
That he did invent that. Yeah. So part 2. What else about part 2? So Jennifer sees her family. She sees her future with Marty, and Marty's
she got scared.
She got scared because Marty kind of went back into that whole, like, he ruined his career of music because of that car crash with the whole
chicken thing.
Exactly. So you're leading into these questions. So what are his trigger? You got one.
Chicken.
And what's the other one that they called him that triggers him?
Yellow?
Yeah. Yellow. You're being yellow. I believe, pretty much yellow. So call him a coward. So
really?
Yeah, in part 3.
That was
so he couldn't take,
that. Cowardly.
Yeah,
that's
being
what,
called out or whatever. He had too much pride to. But I think in part 3 he might have remind me if he kind of it's not important kind of thing. Like he went above that. Yeah, he got called back.
After he spoke to his ancestor, right? because after that and the Mad Dog.
Yeah.
That's the name.
He doesn't like being called.
He doesn't like being Mad. Yeah. And he called him that. At first, it kind of looked like, oh, he's going back to that habit, and then he's like, you know what? I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
So yeah, he kind
learned
of
from it.
he learned. Yeah. Took him 3 films, but he got there.
There you go. Yeah. So then in part 2, so Jennifer saw the family. I don't know if you noticed the daughter, which was
the same
funny,
character. And that's what I love. Well, it was Michael J. Fox.
Yeah, it was Michael J. Fox.
But they did that in the 3 films, which I thought was so cool. Like, I thought it was so funny.
He dressed up as a girl?
Yeah,
he was wearing his skirt and the medias, and he was like, Dad, like with his little high-pitched voice.
Shut up! Now I have to go watch it.
Him.
Yeah, that was him. And then he played his son. His son is so hilarious.
Yeah.
It reminds me, we always do that voice. We're like, fruit, please. You know? And then like, is it ready? Every time, like on a daily basis, if we're like waiting for food or something, like I'll just yell that, is it ready? It's a reference to that. And just so many cool parts in Back to the Future. And part 2, what else happened in part 2? So
I just love Doc's enthusiasm for science. And you really see
we haven't
that.
talked about
You really
Doc,
see that in the second film, because the first one you see that it goes by real fast. This is where you're going, where you're at, where you've been. So the science goes by kind of fast, but in the second film you really see his love for it and how passionate he is about it, and I love that. Like, I love seeing how passionate people are about stuff, and that was really cool to me.
Yeah, Doc was a character I guess we kind of went over. It's just Marty and Doc really the whole film. And, well, the parents as well, but Doc was a really cool character. It kind of, it does shape you. The movies you watch as a kid, well, like me as a kid, that piqued my interest to like, hey, let me pursue, or my interests are in science, like I said, sci-fi and other things. But yeah, Doc was a really cool character, a little eccentric and crazy, but he was cool. So in part 2 also, so Biff grabs the almanac from the future, because Marty's idea is to go back in time, bet a little bit, put a little money on the Cubbies or whatever. He gets the idea from that guy, and Biff finds it and takes the time machine back, meets himself, gives himself the almanac, and then comes back and then there was a scene that was removed from the movie where Biff comes back. He's all hurt. Like, why is Biff like all hurt as old man Biff?
Well, he was
when he comes back in the time machine into the future.
Oh, and he's limping.
And coughing and getting sick. There's a scene where he disappears. That was cut from part 2, like the I guess a deleted scene, because he erased himself, because now he is that rich Donald Trump.
He dies early.
Well, no, he doesn't die, because he gave the almanac to his young self, and then he becomes Donald Trump in the Biff Towers, whatever it's called. Yeah.
I want to look that up. No, I didn't know that there's a deleted scene.
Yeah, there's that deleted scene, because he erases himself from becoming that loserish Biff, because that's what had happened, because what Marty did to him.
When he comes out of the car and he's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Exactly like that.
I was like,
well, you remember that, because he's like in pain.
Yeah,
and
he
feel
leaves
bad
his
for
cane.
him. He breaks his cane. And that's why so Doc finds out that.
You feel bad for him?
Because he's like in pain.
But he left his cane because he can walk now, right? That's probably...
No. He wasn't worth...
His cane broke the top part of it.
Yeah, the little metal.
Hello,
McFly.
Yeah, that's another one that I used. Hello, McFly. Yeah, and then the butthead was his other one.
He was mean. He was just a mean.
He was a mean guy. He was a very mean guy.
I found it like... Second part also crazy, in the alternate uniform alternate universe, how he goes back and his mom is married with Griff, so like this whole time
Biff
he's obsessed with her, and how he beats her up, just like
the implied like a terrible, she is like probably she's an alcoholic. He straight up murdered George McFly. He shot him. He confesses to Marty, and he's going to kill Marty, and he can get away with it. He owns the police. And pop quiz, what's the name of that city, or what do they call that timeline? Do you remember? Okay, first of all, what's the name of the city that Marty lives in, or the town that Marty's from?
Hill Valley.
Hill Valley, very good. So the weird version, the alternate 1985, what was that?
Hill Valley with graffiti on it.
Pretty much. They got like a Hell Valley is what they
Hell
were called. They refer to it because I think they spray paint on the hill. Yeah. So that's a dark future, I guess. Yeah, timeline. That was screwed up. And then he gets the almanac and he finds out he has to go. Well, he can't do anything in this 1985 because they just come home to like, oh, we're done. You know, I saw the future. I helped my son in the future. Now he won't get in trouble with the law and all this stuff. Comes back. It's a 1985 Hell Valley. Goes, what? Something's wrong here. What happened? Then they find out what Biff did. They go back in time, back to 1955, and they have to stop Biff, which was really cool because you see parts of the part one, you see and then part two, you see him behind the tables. And additional
parts, because you see like the dress part where she's getting the dress for the prom or that dance and stuff.
Yeah.
And you see, of course, more sexual assault from
Biff.
Yes. But yeah, like you got to see old and new, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, the way they just put it together and told the story, and I love that. I love seeing that in shows now. Like I love when shows do that. Yeah, connecting. Maybe I know
Doctor Who does that.
Yeah, Doctor Who will do that. He'll see himself or another character will talk to themselves, but it's him from the future really talking to this other person. And they don't know that. Recently, and I know you don't watch Family Guy, but they did that, which was really a really cool take because Stewie has a time machine, the little baby character.
As babies do,
and he talks. He's British, and him and Brian go back in time to the first episode, and they're like
of Family
Guy. So they're like, oh wait, hide. You can't let yourself see yourself, and they keep on seeing each other.
So they broke the fourth wall. They know it's a show.
They know it's a show. They go back to and they're like, there's a TV and it has
that's
crappy
weird.
animation. It's really crappy animation because it's the first episode. It's in standard def, but now they're in HD. So they go back and they're like, what's up with this? Like these animations are terrible. Like none of these characters are really characters now. Anyway, it was just a really cool take. Like they'll take a lot from Back to the Future, and a lot of movies do take a lot from these films. So goes back, saves. They fix it, get the almanac from Biff. They have that cool manure scene, you know.
Yeah, I know.
What happened in like the 3 films? Almost.
The whole manure thing, and which is cool, you know. And then at the end of part 2, Doc is flying in the DeLorean and lightning strikes him and he gets transported somewhere else. And then you get that cool letter, and Family Guy again, they took from this, but the whole letter, the Doc's alive, you know, which was so cool. And at that point, it's like, I don't understand.
Did you
when I was a
get
kid.
frustrated with the rain that he was reading a letter
from 1885?
But like in the rain, he couldn't get into the vehicle. Like, oh, can I read it inside where it's dry and not pouring?
I was like, it's an antique. Stop getting it.
That was me.
Well, what was cool is that the guy goes, we've had this letter for, you know,
Western Union.
Years. Yeah, Western Union. I got something for you. And he puts his hand like he's going to shoot him, and he pulls out the letter.
And okay,
that was cool.
As we've discussed, my favorite show, Supernatural. A lot of stuff happens like that, and they've taken so many of those of the main plot points of Back to the Future and completely just like redid them. Like, just reshot them, but, like, Supernatural version.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so, like, there's the episode Frontierland where they go back in time. So that's kind of, like, in the part 3 type. And there's also episodes in the 4th season and in the 6th season of Supernatural where they do the same exact thing. And they have that exact thing where someone from FedEx comes to the box. And, like,
really?
We've had this since 14 whatever. And we had a bet to see if you were going to open it. And then he's like, are you Samuel Colt? And so he goes and... Like, there are just so many Supernatural. I had like a whole section of just like all the Supernatural parallels. But yeah, like it was just so cool that my favorite show and one of my favorite movies like just have so many episodes similar.
Sure, same thing with and I can't remember now, but yeah, like the Supernatural. Oh, Doctor Who, same thing with I think the Angel one, the Blink episode, I believe, where they come back and
they were really gonna kill something else.
Was it Blink? I don't remember, but pretty much they come in with a letter where it's like, oh, I'm living, because they don't kill you, they transport you back.
Yeah, no, that wasn't Blink.
Oh, that wasn't Blink. That was the next one.
The episode where, spoilers, Amy and Rory died.
Oh yeah, true.
And because you see the tombstone, right?
Yes.
That's what you're talking about.
That one, but also like with the family, I think it might have been Blink.
The very first one?
Or did they just kill you?
The very first time where they with the Weeping Angels was in Blink.
Where they send because they send the doc back, the doctor. back, and they're trapped. I know, it's calling him Doc, and he was without the TARDIS or whatever. But anyway, Doctor Who is a show that
sci-fi.
I know.
But it's really cool that they take that whole. I mean, it's all about time traveling and traveling. But yeah, another thing with the DeLorean. So if you were to travel, so the DeLorean can travel back in time, but not space, and that's what I didn't understand when I was a kid. I was like, well, why don't you just make yourself be on that side of the world? It's like you can't, because you'd need to travel there first and then go back in time.
And you see that throughout the 3 films when they're even like in part 3 with the track. Like there's the track isn't there, but in that year, 1985, the track's gonna be there, so you can go ahead and
it'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
Which is cool. I like that for things. Science.
Cool.
And leaving himself like those letters in part 3. So he gets a letter from Doc. The Doc's alive. It ends like that to be concluded. And I didn't understand that, but then later on, it's like, wow, that's really cool. So at the beginning of part 3, he's still in 1955. Goes back to Doc he's like, and Doc had just sent him. That's where he's like, I just sent you back, like, how are you here? And that was like the kind of confusing part. And that was cool though. And so then he finds out that Doc in 1885, preserved the DeLorean and all this. But then they find his tombstone that he had died 80 days later or something like that. Was it a week? 7 days?
It was 7.
No,
yeah, it was.
It?
Yeah,
Okay.
because it was like 7. It was a few days.
It was a few days after.
Yeah.
So, yeah, over because he was a blacksmith or whatever they called him. So that was interesting. So he had to go back instead of going back over here to the future. See. He went back. He went to the past to save Doc and bring him one more time. So it was a different movie. Yeah. I don't know if you knew this. Back to the Future Part 2 and 3 were shot at the same time and came out, I think, maybe a year later.
6 months, I think.
Was it 6 months?
6 months.
So that was different. I don't know if another film had done that, but that was cool. At the time. Yeah. At the time. Now, like Lord of the Rings was shot that way. Kill Bill was edited into 2 films. But this one, they shot part 2 and part 3 to finish the trilogy. So he goes in, and what'd you think about part 3?
The Western was different. I was not expecting it. It was cool. How they connected of course the DeLorean needed fuel to run, and they didn't have fuel. So I thought that was really cool.
How are they going to solve this problem?
Yeah, I was I'm curious to see what they're going to do. And then they used the train and everything. I liked it. I wasn't as much of a fan of the third part as I was of the first part, but it was okay. It was pretty interesting to see, how the past,
We saw the future, we saw little bit of the past, and then we saw the way past, 1885. What do you think?
I love the third film.
Really?
I think, if I had to rate them, it'd probably be 1 really close, number 3 to number 1, and then 2 would be the third one.
Okay.
Yeah, so
I've heard that
probably
before.
1, 3, 2. And I loved it. I guess because I love that era, the Wild West, and I grew up with that because my dad loves cowboys and stuff like that. And I thought they had a lot of the cliche, the gun ricochets and the horses and
whole spaghetti Western.
Yeah, it was a very cliched Western, and I loved it. I really did enjoy it.
Look at his outfit, which was hilarious. Doc dressed him up. He's like, this is what they use in the movies, the pink with all the little ruffles and then the little hat and what they make fun of him about that. It's really funny.
I really, really liked it. How do you feel about the third?
I enjoyed the third. I like all the movies. I really like part 1 as a movie is great, right. So, and then part 2 and 3, I think I like them in that order. 1, 2, 3, 3 the least, because the future was just awesome. Just seeing the hoverboards. As a kid, hoverboards, we're going to get that in 2015. And that was the whole thing where all these, I grew up with in 2015, you're going to get that. Or that some stuff is going to be like that. That's why they call those things hoverboards. There's all those experiments last year. Yeah, all that stuff that they were trying to come to, to make. But yeah, with part 3, I wasn't a big fan of the Western thing. But then watching it later, I appreciated it more, and I thought it was a good movie too. I thought one of my favorite things was that photo that he took with Doc in 1885 with the clock, and they were there from the beginning, and I got chills or something. Yeah. But no, when they were there from the beginning, came full circle.
That's what I love. It's basically one long movie, and it's just amazing that they were filmed. They're 3 movies, but it just. It's all connected and it all makes sense, and that's what I was saying. It's just so well written, where you don't think like, that didn't make sense. Like, that they messed up in that part or whatever. It made sense. You could watch all 3 straight, and it's one long movie, and that is so cool to me. Like cinematically, I think that's so cool because you don't see it, happening anymore that often. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and the whole with part 3, the figuring out, like they explain. No, that Mr. Fusion thing creates that pop quiz. What is the amount of energy that the time machine needs to go back in time?
No, I don't remember that one.
It's very specific. He says it all the time.
I know.
The gigawatts, right?
Yes.
Yeah. 1.3 gigawatts.
Close.
11.3.
1.21 gigawatts. And he says gigawatts, I believe. 1.21 gigawatts, but it's gigawatts. Yeah. That's the... I hope so. It's a GIF. So that's what he did. And they explained the Mr. Fusion makes that nuclear reaction, so you can put junk in it and all that, but it needs gasoline, unleaded gasoline to run. So that's what they had to use. They were trying the horses experiment. They tried the whatever. They're like, we can wait until winter. He's like, you die next week. Yeah. You're not going to have until winter. So that's when they come up with that whole scheme, the train robbery, and then going, like you said, they're going to go, and in the future, theoretically, that should be finished. The rails will be there. So another thing, I guess you've mentioned them already. You'll get them. What are the 2 names Marty goes by?
Clint Eastwood and
Calvin Klein.
Calvin Klein, yeah, which is really funny. And then Clint Eastwood, they mentioned what kind of stupid name is that, or whatever the comment is. Yeah, like.
And then obviously watching it now, and like Clint Eastwood is like the iconic.
Yeah, he was a cowboy guy.
Yeah,
that's why when you said it, what's your name? Eastwood. Clint Eastwood, and he's like, what kind of stupid name is that? So I love that. Yeah. And the Calvin Klein one too. It's like it's so funny. The 50s.
But your underwear says Calvin Klein.
Yeah, what did she say? Like, he's such a dream, or such a dreamboat, or whatever she says. Yeah, that's weird. That whole relationship, her,
Yeah, well, and when they were trying to get, they were trying to get money to make the film, they went to all the big companies to fund them, and they were all saying no, and then finally someone's like, just go to Disney. They're making all the movies. And so they go to Disney. And so the top Disney exec, here's a pitch. And he's like, you realize we're Disney and you want us to, make a film about incest? No. And so like they walk away with their heads down like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that's a real touchy subject. Yeah, that's really funny. It was Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale. They're the ones that did that. And Zemeckis does a lot of cool movies that when you look back, Forrest Gump, right, was one of his. And I believe, Frighteners, which also was Michael J. Fox in there. And that was another cool one. Michael J. Fox is so awesome.
I remember I had such a huge crush on him when I watched that first film.
Really? Yeah, Marty was so cool.
Now he's old.
Now he's old. Yeah, Marty's,
shout out to Michael J. Fox.
Michael J. Fox. Yeah, still love him. He was great. I never saw Family Ties really, but which was I think his breakout role, that show on TV. But yeah, he's Marty McFly to me, and he's awesome. He's awesome. Same thing with Doc. Another thing we always talk about Doc. That was the first time I ever saw him. I know he was on this show called I think Taxi. I can't remember the name, with Andrew Kaufman, the comedian. Old people stuff.
Old people.
I wasn't born. This was 70s. So that was his role. He was like I guess one of the characters there, and then he played Doc, and he was always Doc for me until one time I saw, and I didn't want to believe it. Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Oh yeah.
And he was like Judge Doom. Did you ever see that one?
Yes.
Yeah, he's that scary guy. The turns into
Did it change
the evil cartoon. I was like, "Nah, Doc."
You see, that's
no.
what I told you.
But I was a kid.
Okay, no,
but I was like 5 years old.
Like the first film or the first TV show I see you in, like that's gonna determine whether I like that actor or not. So, and he was Doc for me. So.
He was Doc for me, and you're like never gonna watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
No.
Okay, yeah, he was.
Don't miss much.
What? You don't
It's
like
a
Who Framed?
weird movie.
What, have you seen it
Cartoons
lately?
and real people. It just freaks me out.
It
Looney
freaks you out.
Tunes?
Yeah.
How about Space Jam? Does that freak you out?
Space
With the
Jam?
basketball players.
Iconic.
Maybe
Bugs
I
Bunny?
don't know. I
What was
haven't
that
seen
Looney
it in a
Tunes
while.
one with
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser?
Oh, that one's all right
What was
too.
that one called?
Back in Action.
You didn't see that one?
Mm-mm.
It's also like that. The Looney Tunes were
I love-
were cartoon and
The people.
were people.
Yeah, and he plays the guy who looks like Brendan Fraser, but it's Brendan Fraser, which is really funny. There's a lot of product placement
Yeah.
jokes in there, which is hilarious. Like the Walmart, and they all go in. They're like, "Oh, we got found everything
Yeah,
we
they're like
needed,"
in a desert. They're like, oh, let's go inside Walmart and buy these low priced,
Yeah.
items.
and they like totally play on that. I like that. But anyway, Back to the Future Part 3.
I love the iconic. There are so many quotable quotes
Yeah, quotable
in that
quotes.
movie. I think one of the ones where I actually laughed out loud when I was rewatching them
Mhm.
recently was after Doc passes out.
Mhm.
Then he's like, "Do you have a back door in this place?" He's like, "Yeah, it's in the back." It's so dumb, and I just started cracking up. I just laughed so loud. I love it.
That's funny.
And also just a lot of at the beginning when Doc and Marty were talking about
Mhm.
what was happening in at the beginning of part 3, and so he is going. I think he slips on the hoverboard and he falls dramatically
Oh, yeah.
on the piano, and it has like that dramatic the dun 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 or whatever. I just
It just
I don't
fits
know.
in there,
There's
yeah.
just so many like weird comedic times in this film. I really really love it.
Okay, so what's the thing, pop quiz? What's the thing that makes time travel possible? Super easy.
The flux capacitor.
Very good. Very good.
Mark.
you have to say it like that. Yeah. Yeah, so that whole thing. Another quiz. I'll just throw these in here. What are the names of his two dogs?
Yeah.
Copernicus and Einstein.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That.
very good. So another, again, Family Guy, but this wasn't Family Guy. This is that Million Ways to Die in the West.
Oh, the dumb one.
Yes, the dumb one. So it was all right. It was funny. There was a part where you just see like a garage and some weird stuff happening, like light electricity.
Mm-hmm.
So he goes in there, the sheriff, which is played by the guy who does Family, Seth MacFarlane. He goes in there. It's funny in this one. He's okay. He knocks on the door, and who opens? It's freaking Doc Brown, and he has like.
Oh,
this,
that was in the trailer, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's like the only.
I had no idea that was
Yeah,
in the
that was in
movie
the trailer.
because I didn't see the trailer. But I saw that part and I was like, "That is so awesome!" That was really cool. I don't remember what they said, but that little cameo as him being Doc Brown was like super cool.
Because he was also trying to hide the
He's hiding the DeLorean
in the garage, right? Like
Yeah.
with a
In my
sheet or
mind,
cloth,
yes, that's
yeah.
what he did. I don't remember exactly, but that was a cool little cameo and throwback to that. But yeah, so they come back. Doc falls in love. He saves. Was her name Clara also? Clara Oswald? No,
No.
that's Doctor
No.
Who. Clara Clayton. Yeah, Clara. So another quiz. It was. Remember that ravine at the end? How some stuff that happened. So who fell into it? They thought Marty.
They thought it was she did.
Yeah, originally because the horse took her, and that's when they saved her. They changed history.
Yeah.
Doc fell in love with her, but at the end, when they're going back to the future, from the past, Marty from the train and all that, like he gets pushed when the time machine explodes. So they think he dies. So they named the ravine Eastwood Ravine after him at the end. I don't know if you caught that. Yeah, it's
Oh, okay. Got too excited. Yeah.
I gained audio. It was on mute.
Okay.
Yeah, so he goes, and I'm gonna do that again. He goes through, and he falls, and they think he dies.
I remember that.
Yeah. The other change, I know Mark.
Which is also another cool like Wild West like trains explosion.
Yeah, bringing the trains back. Trains are awesome, and I think Doc even mentioned it maybe in part 2 that he'd always want to go to the Wild West, and that's what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he loved it.
Yeah, that was his favorite
To see that.
like era as a kid or something.
Mm-hmm. So that's when so he falls in love, and I guess right after, what's really cool too, it's like he comes back, Marty comes back, and immediately right there Doc comes back with his flying train or whatever, right?
Which I thought was so cool because
Yeah.
he was always saying, when we get back to the future, you need to destroy the DeLorean, destroy
and
it.
he did. He's
I
like,
yeah,
did,
but then
Doc.
he's like, no, but I'm gonna build a fancier one.
Yeah, yeah, and the whole thing, Marty was sad because Doc was stuck in the past.
Yeah.
At least he didn't die,
and he was also with the person that
and he was happy.
He loved. Yeah,
and he made that choice. But what's cool is Doc built the tech. He had a family. He had his 2 kids. That weird kid. I don't know if you've seen any weird stuff with that kid. There's a scene at the end, and go on YouTube and watch like the weird part of when the kids show up. The little kid is making a weird gesture to his thing. He's making a creepy face, like he's kind of like pointing. There's like a theory that he's like a pervert or something.
What?
But yeah, it's a weird thing. Go back and look.
Why?
Because he's making a weird face and pointing. So yeah, make a note of that one.
Why? No, I need to
Go back to that one.
But I think the whole thing is he was pointing off screen that he needed to go pee or something. But he's making a weird face.
Oh my god!
And they didn't notice that.
And that's in the film, which is really funny. I can't. Jules. Oh, spoilers. Okay, no, not spoilers. Pop quiz.
Jules.
What are the names? What are their names?
Jules Verne.
Yeah, Jules and then Verne, which is an author
Ah.
of his favorite.
The
What
science,
books did he write?
No, I don't know.
Jules Verne, A Thousand Leagues Under the Sea,
Yeah,
right?
I believe so. Sure. What
I
say
think
you?
so.
Yeah,
I think so. Might be completely off.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna say
always
a time
off.
machine, but that's not. That was H.G. Wells, yes. Which is another cool time travel movie. So yeah. So again, happy ending. Marty has like the ultimate test when he's gonna race his nemesis or his future partner Needles, which was played by. Do you know who?
No. Creepy guy.
Old person question, I guess. Do you know who the actor? Okay, it was played by the Red Hot Chili Peppers bass player Flea.
Oh.
That was him, yeah.
Oh.
So he was a lot younger.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's cameos in this one, but that was a big one. Needles. I didn't know who he was like when I was a kid either, but I was like, oh, that's freaking Flea. Like he's Flea. I saw the name Flea in the credits, and that was him. But yeah, so he has that ultimate test where he's gonna race. Jennifer, he's like tells him no, like kind of because she knows his future, what's gonna happen. So he decides not to do that. Yeah, not to race. And I guess, is that how it ends? I can't remember how it ends. Or is it when Doc comes back and that's how it ends?
Yeah, it ends with Doc.
Oh, okay. So Doc doesn't immediately come aboard. All aboard.
No, because remember she gets the paper out. She's like, get erased.
Yeah, she talks
why did that happen or whatever.
Yeah. So he has this cool truck. He doesn't get in the car accident. He's like, man, I could have gotten in that and ruined his life. So, and the cool thing that Doc says at the end, and how do you guys feel about this? Are our destinies predetermined?
You're supposed to, and no. Like, he said that your destiny isn't written yet.
Yes, but what do you think? So that was a cool thing that Doc said. It's like, no, the future isn't written.
Yeah,
it's what you make of it. Yeah. So so that I can't talk. So then now that's another life lesson. It's like
too deep.
Bring it back. No, car's cool.
I know, sci-fi.
Sci-fi. Doctor Who. What do you think?
Yeah,
is your future determined or
no?
I
think anything can change.
What is the line that he says? You are my density, whatever. With what's his name?
The dad,
George McFly, right? When he's kind of like talking,
destiny.
You're my density. I mean, and he does the hair thing.
His weird hair.
Yeah. And then Biff comes in and like ruins it. But yeah, that was cool. And they also make Biff their slave, which is legal
really
slavery.
Cool, yeah.
Really cool.
Really cool.
I thought that was messed up. I thought that was really messed up. Like just starting the second coat,
I
whatever.
liked it.
Yeah, you like that.
He deserved it. He was mean.
He deserves to be in slavery.
I didn't know Ross was that old though. Like
Ross?
the store. It's in one of the scenes, like in the beginning when Doc gets shot, right?
Oh, it's like the mall in the
In the
strip
back,
the
you see the Ross. Pablo and I were like,
it still exists.
I know, but
it's been around that long.
Yeah, these are like big brands. They've been around for I think Montgomery Ward, which is no longer around.
What was the name of the mall?
It was pop quiz.
Pop quiz.
Okay,
no, I said pop quiz.
Originally, what do you think? Do you know it? Because I know this one.
I don't know this one.
It was originally Twin Pines Mall, and then it became Lone Pine Mall, I believe, because Marty ran over the two pines. In the beginning, remember when he first goes back in time to 1955 in the first one, he leaves in the DeLorean where he's wearing the radiation suit. and he runs over one of the pines, so it leaves one. So it changed. He changed the future right there with that, which is cool. That's something Mark had mentioned also with those little things there. I mean, I'm sure there's hundreds of these things that are thrown in there that, I mean, we don't have time to go over them, but anything else?
Let's play a round of Who Said It. Super easy.
Okay.
Just iconic Back to the Future lines.
Okay, Back to the Future, not history, not real history.
No. This is just Back to the Future lines. Like the most iconic, I think, that each person says it. Who says, Great Scott?
Doc Brown.
Okay. Who says, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?
That's it's Biff. Why don't you make like a tree and leave? Yeah, and then he corrects
old
him.
Biff, the older Biff.
Yeah.
He's like, you idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, where are my pants?
Where are my pants? Oh, Marty.
Yeah. Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Oh, that's good. Who's that?
Doc
Brown.
Okay, and last one, that's heavy.
That's
Marty.
Yeah. It's like, weight has nothing to do with it. Doc, has this whole theory that everything's heavier in the future because Marty keeps saying that's heavy.
Everything's heavier in the That's so good.
That's so awesome. Yeah. So any final thoughts on Back to the Future?
Fantastic. Has everything that I love.
Yep.
Supernatural.
Bears beats Battlestar.
Yeah.
It's everything. Yeah.
Should it be remade?
No,
eventually, I think
like
it's
that.
good.
No, I don't want
does
that.
Does it hold up? Do you think back?
Yes.
You just recently saw it. Does it hold up?
I think it's cool. It's like a classic. I mean, I'm glad I watched it and actually paid attention.
But do you think a child now, like watching it, would be
cool.
entertained with it?
Probably not.
You don't think so?
I don't. With your kids, like
I think so.
I think so.
Well, I don't know about your kids, but like
Yeah.
kids in general, I think because it has the certain audience. Not every child likes the sci-fi. Not every child likes space. Stuff like that. I think with the right audience, I think it'll hold up.
maybe younger kids would like enjoy it more.
You think
But
younger
like
kids?
the teens, probably not because they're already used to like
But even the nerdy
touchy
kids.
stuff and all.
Touchy stuff? What do you mean?
Like
Think like Jim
iPads
at 17. Like
I did not have glasses. I've never worn glasses, but yeah.
I don't know. Yes and no. I guess it'd be cool to see it remade with like all the effects
You
of
think
today.
so?
No, I don't. I think
they'd
I would
ruin
cry. No, if that
I-
happened, my heart
Really?
would break.
Yeah,
I don't
because
like
this
that.
movie has so much soul.
Yes.
And I think it wasn't really too graphics heavy. I mean, the practical effects, I mean, the lightning off of it or the electricity and then the fire trails were all real.
Yeah.
Now they'd make like this whole...
They would CG everything, and
that
it
was
would
all-
ruin it.
Yeah, I don't think there was a lot of...
It had a lot of bad words.
Yeah.
Well, it was the
did.
80s.
That's what
they
I
didn't care.
noticed.
They didn't care about
PG-13
kids.
was PG everywhere.
Yeah, I
And
noticed that. I was like, there's a lot of bad words.
Yeah, like what? Like the
S-H-I-T word.
Yeah,
there was
and
a-
the son of a tostada.
yeah.
That classic
Tostada.
curse word, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one did have... Yeah, but it was pretty realistic. And they touched a little bit, not too much on the racism, I think. But, I mean, they mentioned with the mayor
yeah.
in the 50s where he's like, I'm going to clean up this town.
Yeah, he's like, you'll be a
"Mayor."
great mayor. Yeah, I like that.
I like that. Yeah, Goldie
I
Wilson.
thought that was cool.
Yeah.
And
he's
how
like,
his son, his grandchild, right, the third, was also running in the future.
yeah.
Which was really cool to me.
Yeah. So yeah, that was, they touched on that, and I think I mean there was some weird stuff in the past where the guys were obviously smoking marijuana in the
car.
In the car, and then like he slices his hand. That's why Marty has to play guitar, which is awesome, by the way. So I always try to recreate when I played my rhythm guitar, not
backup guitar.
not backup guitar.
He
When
plays
I-
backup guitar.
When I played rhythm guitar, like I'd always pretend
Is that
to
Guitar
try
Hero?
to do it. No, in real life. Yeah, in real life, try to do that move. Haven't perfected it yet, but
But I bet Kelly digs it.
it's weird. Alright, yeah. So anything else that you can think about Back to the Future to wrap things up? Well, there's a lot of comics out there. There was a cartoon. There was a video game that I think I Snapchatted you guys that one time. I played through it. It was a cool continuation of it. They went back to like the 20s. I think it was a speakeasy era.
Flappers. Oh, that's cool.
It was really cool. And Doc went by the name of Carl Sagan, and then like it was really interesting. It was a different story because anything Back to the Future, I'll like absorb it. I'll read the fan fiction. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff on there. Check out my blog, Back to the Future fan fiction. No, but yeah, anything like that was really cool. I love it. I would like maybe not a reboot, but maybe, I don't know,
remaster.
I want more. Maybe themes. I mean, like
with the same.
You can't do the same. I don't think so. What?
Star Wars.
They're old now.
Yeah, but there's still
Doc still looks the same. I mean, he's always looked old.
Well, what I'm saying is like it's still. I mean, Luke Skywalker is coming out in Force Awakens. He's coming out in the other films after that. Like it is possible to do the same. Like have them maybe like
same characters,
a Marty and Doc Jr. going through the same things. But them also still coming out. I don't know. I honestly, I don't think I wouldn't. No, okay. I don't want to mess with it. My heart breaks when I see stuff like that.
The way just it ended. I don't know if you can probably watch the whole playthrough on YouTube and not play anything. But there's some cool little scenes in there. He meets more of his family, and then I think at the end he comes back to 1985. But there's just kind of paradoxes. We didn't even touch on time travel paradoxes and how now Marty came back to 1985. And there should be two Martys because, like, how can they exist at the same time? It's so weird. Like, one of them would have. There's these weird theories on Cracked, that website that you hate. I'll send you a link on Back to the Future.
I won't watch it.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Hide.
Sure, scene. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's a really. There's some cool stuff in there, but I think we've gone a little long. Anything else you want to add? Final notes.
No, it's good. I'm glad I watched it. And paid attention.
Show your little brothers the movie. Force them like your dad forced you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
Because it is worth watching. Like little kids, I think like that nerdy.
I actually think my brothers have watched it with my dad.
Oh, they have.
Yeah,
okay.
on Telemundo.
On Telemundo.
No.
What is it called in Spanish?
No, probably like when they come out on AMC or TBS.
And they come out on AMC a lot.
Yeah, on AMC a lot.
Yeah, so that's about all the time we have for. It's pretty late here, and we enjoyed talking to you about Back to the Future, the 3 films. And my name is Jim Zavala. Find me on Twitter at JimZ3.
I'm Claudia. You can find me at Claudia V. Lemus.
Melinda at Melinda Lene.
And thanks for joining us. Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye. Or day.
Monkey baby.
I'm going to sync the claps. Let me see. Record. You want to do the honors?
No. Okay. I was going to mess you up and do it at a different time.
Oh my God, please don't do that. You guys are terrible.
I thought we were supposed to do that.
Together? No, that screws everything up.
No, I actually just wanted to mess it up.
Thank you, Melinda. Appreciate it. Okay, let's see.
He's like, no, please don't do that. It's recording. The epic fail. We all clapped at different times.
All right, let's see. So look at the camera.
Did I tell you that your cousin Julio gave us a lot of dirty little secrets about you?
There's not anything about me. What? What did he say?
What?
He's like, I knew Jim since he was in high school. Yeah. Kelly's his high school sweetheart.
Those aren't dirty secrets.
Got a bunch of
long hair.
Yeah, I had long hair. You know
pictures.
That. That's it.
I'll go investigate more.
Okay. Cool. All right.
I forgot, actually. I don't know. I'm pretty sure he told me more things, but I forgot.
Like you went to Weslaco.
I know now.
Okay. Let's see. All right. So it's all look up there.
Oh, man, this is so awkward.
I know.
The smile thing.
What? The smile thing?
Did you just hear Jim's next? Like, The Exorcist.
ASMR.
The Exorcist.
Oh,
he was like,
check it out. Quiet.
No, Jim.
Oh, we just got the nuns.
The nuns? What does that mean?
Like
the runs? The cat.
Like the chill thing.
The cat to go.
Okay, let's start.
Oh my God, it's so hot.
What are the nuns?
The chills. I've been to see the chills. I just got the nuns.
We're never gonna start. Okay, let's look at there. Let's look up there. All right.
And rolling.
All right, you gonna be there? Welcome back, Claudia. Welcome back. Okay, let's look up there. Everybody smile. Hey, hello and welcome. Let's start again. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry.